Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I'm just sitting here drinking my morning coffee. And you guys know what time it is. Time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And for those of you who like these type of videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. But I had someone this morning link me a new video that Jeff Nippard did discussing his own leg day. And I thought it was interesting that Jeff had said that, a lot of his fans request training vlogs. That's something that they request in person. He thought he would do more of, and that's what I would say to all YouTubers out there. Why don't you guys vlog all your training? I do. I vlog all my workouts every week. It's not a bad idea. Every single workout you do, it's not that hard. If you're already a YouTuber with a big channel, you already have a big following, you already have a camera, you train multiple times a week, you just film all your workouts and upload them as a real vlog. And that's what I would say with this to Jeff or anyone else. It's not really vlogging if you're only doing it once a month. Film all your workouts. Put everything up that you guys do through the week. People will watch it. It'll keep you accountable to your audience. And quite frankly, it will show people a lot more of what's going on with your stuff. Like that's one of my big beefs with YouTube Fitness or any of these people, is that you guys don't put up all your workouts. All right, put up all your workouts. It's really not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do, particularly if you're used to filming all the time anyways. And then it can show people what your real training looks like, your real progression. And people who are big fans of what you do are actually going to watch them. Right? They're going to watch them every single week. Even if you have 5 or 6 workouts, they're going to watch all of them. Because I have people who admittedly watch all 4 of my workouts every week. I have people who are advanced lifters who watch all 4 of mine. They'll watch them, guys. But it's being more realistic about what you're really doing. And one of the little side notes that I thought was interesting is that he pointed out, kind of in the evidence-based world, that it seems really controversial when he mentions that he consumes more than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, things like that. And let's be honest about that. That really shouldn't be controversial outside of asking, is it scamming people? Usually, historically, for me, my issue with that has always been, is it supplement companies promoting it to get you to buy more protein powders? All right, versus is there any real benefit? Because I'm going to even disagree when he said that, well, it's only an issue if you're replacing other macros with it. Like if your carbs are too low, maybe you should replace some of those. I don't even need dietary carbs, bro. I don't even need dietary carbs, and I protein overfeed. Let's be honest here. Protein can completely replace carbohydrates in your diet, even as a serious advanced lifter. If you so choose. If that's the route you choose to go and you know how to balance it, it's totally acceptable. That's what I do. But, to each their own. I think what people need to remember, though, when it comes to the protein overfeeding, no, it's a question of how much money are you willing to spend, and does it affect your appetite? That's the only issue. That's usually our concerns with high protein diets, is going to be the cost. Protein is expensive. As a macronutrient, protein is the most expensive macronutrient. It might be prohibitive by your budget. And I've heard some of the better experts out there who do have advanced degrees and things say, look, your budget and what you're willing to spend on food is usually your most important limiting factor on protein. There aren't negatives to protein overfeeding for people who lift and people who train. There doesn't actually seem to be the case. But it can be expensive. It can be expensive. And for me, I actually, these days, I consume a lot more than 1 gram per pound. Like, I'm not even close to that low. But, that comes down to what it is you're trying to do with your training. But I would say when he was talking about writing a book on recomposition, people who say that they are actually serious about body recomposition, protein overfeeding is probably the way to go. That's probably the way to go. Actually, in fact, let's come back over to the other point. Maybe you should be replacing some of those dietary carbs with a lot of extra protein. Probably be relatively helpful for recomp. Again, strategy that I'm currently using as an advanced lifter. Does work. Over to the point with his workout. You can give credit where credit is due. Because again, I'm going to be positive with my criticism. He started with squats. Better than a lot of YouTubers out there do. Started with squats. Can't hate on that. That's good. I felt like everything was a little bit too light. He at least knows what a reverse hyper is, promotes a reverse hyper if you have access to one. It's fantastic. If you have access to a reverse hyper, you need to do that every single leg day. How's that? In fact, if you're serious about building things like your lower back strength, you have any history of injuries or strains in your lower back, if you had access to a reverse hyper, that is the sort of device that I would lean you in the direction of getting on every single day. Yeah, every single day. Be a real good idea. Fantastic prehab work. So, come over to the point of what's going on with this training. I don't know how many days a week Jeff is doing this, but I'm just going to look at it and say it's not, the problem is not the high volume. The problem with it is the junk volume and the redundant volume, right? It was all just a bunch of light fluff, and I'm not against doing one-legged exercises if you need them as an athlete. I do split squats once a week. One of my training sessions on my heavy day, I do split squats. But you look at his squatting itself. Three sets of 8. All right, that's already light, brother. 3 sets of 8 is not really going to get a lot of quality work in. I mean, 315 for work sets in terms of tension. We're dealing with late novice, early intermediate numbers. I mean, as an advanced lifter, I don't know. I think Jeff should have more weight on the bar. And that was kind of a point he raised, is that he said, well, I mean, I am thinking of adding some top sets back in, but then he says 80 to 90%. And this is where I'm gonna definitely differ with someone. And he said, because I need to work on my neuromuscular efficiency to get heavy weight on my back and max strength. It's like 80 to 90% is not going to develop max strength. It can't develop max strength. Right? I want to make that very, very clear. That's your volume range. That's usually your work for general base building. Like in the 80%, that's your base building range on a squat. All right? I want to make that clear. That cannot build maximum strength. To build maximum strength, you need to go above 90% on any lift. Any lift that you say, or any movement pattern where you say, I'm trying to build maximum strength, you have to go above 90%. And people who are saying, but I'm scared of injuries. Well, if you're scared of injuries, I wouldn't be doing sets of 8 on a squat. All right, I mean, let's talk about risk of injury. You guys really think ramping to a training max has a higher injury risk than doing sets of 8 on a barbell squat? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. Unless you're a noob who doesn't know how to squat, you have poor mobility, poor technique. Training maxes are not more dangerous than doing sets of 8. Okay, now if we want my subjective opinion, I think sets of 8 on a barbell squat are more dangerous for a risk injury than hitting a training max. I think that's riskier than hitting 93% for a single. Says me, my opinion. So he did his 3 sets of squats, and my other concern is I don't know how many times a week he's doing all this, but as far as real primary exercises, that is his only primary exercise in there, 3 sets. I'm not sure how many times a week he's doing it. He did. I don't think he specified that. I could be wrong. I don't know if he's doing this twice a week, 3 times a week, but he said this is from the best natural bodybuilder in the world. Well, Jeff, that guy's not natural. That natural bodybuilder you put up the other day, if that's who I'm thinking of, that guy's not natural. Doesn't even look natty. Come on, bro. And I mean, you look at this routine, and I'm going to say that this routine is very inappropriate for someone who's not on that dare, because it was a lot of junk volume. And I'm not against someone coming in and doing 10 sets for their quads in a workout, right? But the squats were fairly light, sets of 8, 3 sets of 8. Not a lot of squat volume. That's okay. Moderate amount, and that's fine. You can always do that and then do more volume on a secondary exercise. But then we come over, and it was multiple sets of like 15 with one-legged exercises. They're getting redundant. Look, if you have an issue with, again, maybe your lower quad development, right? Maybe you need more strength out of the bottom. You need more development in your lower quad. One-legged squats, whether it's a lunge, a split squat, they're universally interchangeable. That's fine. You can use that extra volume there. Load it appropriately. load it appropriately, do some sets of 5, 8, 10. But he already did moderate weight already. He's already done fairly lightweight on the squats. That's an 8. It's not going real heavy. I felt like it was just a lot of really fluff volume, low quality sets with 6 different sets of 15 from 2 different exercises on a one-legged movement. That's low quality volume. It's low tension, low quality in terms of reps in reserve. It's kind of falling back over into what we were talking about with the problem with the Brad study and stuff, Dr. Eric and other people that Jeff associates with just junk volume. We're essentially just dealing with junk volume and low quality reps, low quality sets. That's not really going to be beneficial. That's not really going to build a lot of long-term hypertrophy. I understand for certain phases, like if you do this for a short phase of training, to accumulate volume, to accumulate work capacity, and then you go into a heavier phase immediately, all right, fine, that's fine. But it's inappropriate for actually gaining any significant tissue hypertrophy. Then we go over to it, and it's supposed to be leg day, leg training. There's almost no hamstring work. There's no hamstring work. And here's what I would say. Yes, he rigged up his way to do a reverse hyper because he doesn't have a glute ham raise. Now, he said that he feels the glute ham raise is underrated. I guess I would say the glute ham raise is underrated if a person says it's not the absolute best hamstring exercise probably ever developed in history. Would probably be to say that would be underrated to say anything but that. But most strength circles that I know, the glute ham raise is praised as borderline essential. So it's not really underrated. Almost every elite coach I know promotes the glute ham raise into the ground. I bought one and have one in my personal home. It's not underrated. Everyone promotes it, and rightly so. But I mean, I'll give a nod to that. But let's not pretend it's underrated. Just say that every top coach recommends it, because they do, almost all of them. But he didn't have access to a glute ham raise, didn't have access to a reverse hyper. That's the point where you come in and you do another hip hinge. I mean, he rigged up the thing on these BOSU balls. Like, well, I couldn't load it. Yeah, I mean, you can't really load it, Jeff. What's the point? Usually, even if you're on a glute ham raise, for his current strength level, he would probably be doing 200 pounds of plates on a reverse hyper, right? Am I wrong? 200 to 210 would be his appropriate loading weight. That would be appropriate for him. That ball up on you're on the thing on your back, that's just inappropriate. And this is still a secondary exercise. There was no hip hinge, no deadlifts, no RDLs, no good mornings. Where's all your hamstring work? So, I mean, I look at this and go, this is a lot of one-legged quad volume, lack of posterior chain work, lack of hamstring work. I mean, you're going to go through the trouble to put extra work on your adductors and everything. Okay, that's fine, but you basically neglected your hamstrings. You neglected half of your leg. I don't get it. What's the point? All in all, I mean, I didn't think it was that great of a workout. I will give nod for his comments on protein. I'll give nods for using squats. I'll give credit for the shout out to the reverse hyper, to the glute ham raise. That's great stuff. But the workout itself, man, it really was junk volume, and I don't think that this is a good workout. I just don't. I don't see what people are going to get out of it. Just my opinion, and I'm going to say that as politely as possible. So you can see we can say that without insulting people, but it's reality. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.